So what we're going to cover today on this webinar, as per all of our webinars, in case maybe you've joined us for a trip before, I'm going to introduce your host. And again, hopefully Mara will be able to log in a moment. I'm just keeping an eye on my phone here to see where she's at. Um, and then Mara and I will cover some of the pre-trip preparation that you need. So talking about what you need to pack, what you need to bring, anything that you would should be aware of that you'll need for this trip. Um, I'll touch on your arrival into Turkey, into Istanbul airport. And then I'll just touch on a few points of the itinerary. I'm not going to go into the itinerary in detail. By now, you will have read all of the documentation you've received, so you'll have an idea of where we're going. But if you do have any questions at the end, I'll have a little Q&A session, so I'll be able to address any questions. And please raise any questions that would be of interest to all of the members on the group in terms of what we're doing or anything you'd like to know. Because if you have a question, perhaps there's a good chance somebody else will have the same question. So yes, without further ado, let's get started. And again, I want to introduce Mara, who I was just chatting with on Telegram a moment ago, and for some reason she had a problem with her internet. So hopefully she'll join us in a second. Mara is an amazing host. She actually hails from Australia. She's been hosting trips with other companies for many, many years. So she's actually quite seasoned and has hosted already numerous trips for us here at Wheel and Anchor. She's a much loved host. She's a yoga teacher as well. So don't be surprised if she's suggesting that to do a little yoga on deck of the Gulet when you get there. So a lot of fun. I'm sure you will enjoy Mara's company. So again, hopefully we'll get her on the webinar momentarily. So let's jump into what you need to know for the trip. Now, all this information I'm talking about today is covered in the specific trip reference guide that you will have gotten previously. I think Aura sent it out again recently. There may be a couple things that I touch on that's not in there, but you can reference most of the information there. In case you missed something today, and of course, I'm going to be sending you a replay, a recording of this webinar, just in case you want to take another look. And that'll come out tomorrow. So, first of all, let's talk about your passport and documents. The nice thing about Turkey is they eliminated the visa requirement for Canadians some years ago, so we can enter without a tourist visa. So it makes it nice and easy. They do request that your passport is valid for 6 months beyond the return date. That is a stipulation that they have. I can't tell you how strict they are about that. Well, I can tell you how strict they are about that because I did enter Turkey last year, and I definitely didn't have 6 pages left in my passport, and they didn't make a big deal of it, but that is what they tell us to tell you. So keep that in mind. And similarly, sorry, that's not true. I did have 6 months left. I didn't have two blank pages left. I think I was down to my last page, but they didn't make a big kerfuffle about it. But I would recommend that you just double check your passport if you haven't used it recently, and make sure that if it's coming up for renewal, well, you better get on that since it's only a month away. I always recommend taking a photo of the picture, the photo of the passport with your phone. So I always snap a photo of the information page. That way, you don't have to bring your passport with you. You don't need it, generally speaking, on the trip, but and again, I always recommend keeping it in the safe box in the hotel or in a safe place on a gulet. But some places will, if you're exchanging money, for example, will request to see your passport or picking up a SIM card. And I'll talk about the SIM cards in a few minutes. And again, keeping a copy of your passport on your phone is very, very helpful in case you should need it along the way, or God forbid anything should happen to it. So that's the most important thing. I think the old adage applies here, money, tickets, passport. I always repeat that to myself, even though we don't really need money anymore. As long as we have our credit card, and a lot of us, like me, store them on our phone, so it's not even critical anymore. And of course, tickets are all e-tickets, but the passport is irreplaceable. And nowadays, instead of money and tickets, if you have your phone, that's probably more important than anything. So that's about all you need in terms of documentation. Let's get into packing, and I know Mara wanted to say a few words about this. Mara, are you able to speak? I see you're there, but um, I can't hear you or see you as yet. So otherwise, I'm just going to carry on. And then let's see if Mara is able to sort out her technical issue. Um, the
Can
there,
can you hear me now?
yeah. Now I can hear you, Mara.
Yeah, okay, great. Sorry. My apologies.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're carrying on. We're just now on what to pack, Mara. So I'll get started here. You can chime in with some of the other ideas you would have for
Sure.
our members from previous trips. The main thing about our trips at Wheel and Anchor, there's two key points. First of all, our trips are casual. And again, if I see a number of you have joined us before, there's no formal requirement whatsoever. So be casual, but also be um, you're going to Turkey in late September, early October. The weather is generally still quite warm. You should expect for some cooler weather, but you don't need anything heavy, and you don't need a lot of stuff. So packing light is always a good idea. A lot of our members are able to get away with carry-on. I personally haven't been able to manage that myself, but um, obviously traveling with carry-on just saves you for a lot of hassles in case your baggage is delayed along the way. And also, going from place to place, just having a carry-on is a lot easier. But regardless, even if you're like most people taking a full checked luggage, leave room for the inevitable little souvenirs that you might pick up along the way. And yeah, because you don't need a lot of stuff. I think, Mara, wouldn't you say the most thing that's important here is layering because you're going to get
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Look, we're because it's October, the temperatures are variable. So low 20s
yeah,
maybe, and then at the end of the trip, in the post trip, it'll get a little bit cooler because we're going a bit higher.
yeah,
And
that's true.
look, it will be warm enough to swim, no doubt, but it won't be as warm, of course, as it is now. So I always just take layers. I always travel with a puffer. I always travel with a puffer jacket and layers. So and also another thing for on the boat, everyone needs to have slippers or shoes that you wear inside the rooms because they don't allow us to wear our shoes. So that's one other thing that you need to be aware of. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point about the slippers. Is that yeah, like outdoor shoes are not permitted, which is nice as well. I mean, you could go in barefoot or sock feet. I don't recommend that though, sock feet particularly on the boat because it could be slippery on all the peak surfaces. So yeah, a nice pair of slippers. But yeah, some other things, Mara. You mentioned swimwear. I mean, for sure,
yeah,
the Mediterranean is lovely for
yeah,
swimming. They've had a warm summer. So the water is going to be lovely. And I know on all the other trips, there's been, a number of opportunities for swimming, right?
yeah, yeah. No, look, the swimming will be lovely. So
Yeah,
definitely throw your swimmers in.
exactly. And
Yeah,
on that note, you might consider bringing water-friendly shoes, meaning water shoes for going on the beaches. I mean, a lot of the swimming is done off the boat, so it's not so important. But if you're like me and you're an avid swimmer, if I see a beach and I've got 20 minutes, I want to jump in the water. But the beaches in Turkey are, for the most part, pebble beaches as opposed to sand beaches. I mean, you might
yeah.
find both, but with the pebble beaches, sometimes it's more comfortable to walk if you have water shoes. So that's also not a bad idea to take along. On the note of footwear, though, comfortable walking shoes. We can never reiterate this enough. Make sure you have comfy shoes. And if you're planning to get a new pair, especially for the trip, get them now. Walk them in. Don't have them brand new on the trip because your feet tend to swell when you fly. When you are in an airplane for a long period of time, and we don't want you to be getting blisters. We do kind of suggest you take two pairs of shoes because
Yeah,
you
look,
you know
I,
you
I usually I usually
yeah
travel with a pair of walking sandals and
Yeah.
some, and then a pair of sketches or something like that. And that's all I travel with, two pairs. And maybe I'll just have to bring my little slip-ons, walkers for the boat. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't travel with many shoes because they take up too much room. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, Keep in mind as well, bring an adapter for plugs. You will need an adapter, and the details about that again are in that specific trip reference guide about the type of adapter you need. The voltage in Turkey is like the rest of Europe; it's 220, and so your chargers for your phone, your camera, that stuff shouldn't be a problem. Any device, any electronic device that's been made in the last 10 years or more will accept dual voltage. But for those who are carrying anything unusual, particularly anything with a heating appliance like a hair dryer or a hair straightener, those things will often be single voltage, in which case, if you want to bring it, you would need to get a voltage converter, one that actually changes the voltage from 110 from 220 to 110. So keep that in mind as well. Yeah, is there anything else? I think we pretty much covered the basics in terms of what you need for packing. Any
Yeah.
other? Yeah. Okay, cool. Then let's move on from here. Do you want to speak a little bit about money and currency and credit cards, Mara?
Look, I just travel with a Wise card, which is in your notes because Wheel and Anchor all we all use Wise cards, and they're such a great way to travel. They don't have fees if you get a certain amount out, and they're just a simple way to travel. So if you haven't already got one, I would highly recommend you get a Wise card, and easy to get money out. I mean, Europe, Turkey, that they like a lot of cash. So if you have cash, also for tips, we know when you're not with the group because I'll do most of the tipping when we're with the group. But when you're on your own, it's really good to have cash. They love cash. They love
Yeah, so
cash.
cash is so although you can use your credit cards or
Yeah,
debit cards for that matter, in most places, particularly in Istanbul, you can use your credit card anywhere.
yeah,
But when you get to some of these smaller towns, or if you're in a market, or if you're in the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, as Mara says, they still like their cash. So
yeah,
you'll definitely want to get some Turkish lira out. You can see a picture of what they look like here. Don't I would Please don't try to get it from a bank in Canada. That's going to be a futile operation.
yeah,
And not to mention you'll pay through the nose for it. The best place to get local money is honestly the first ATM you spot when you get to the airport. We always generally recommend that you use bank ATMs as opposed to
yeah,
those other ones like Euronet because they charge a much higher fee for withdrawing. And I've also heard stories that, if you get your card stuck in one of them, it's,
they're hard to
which
get out.
they're hard to get
Yeah.
out. So it doesn't happen that often, but we always say go for a bank. And, Mara, our local guide, will point that out to you.
Yeah, and look,
So
if you don't get to an ATM at the airport, I will be at the hotel to meet everyone, and then I will have been there for a few days already, so I'll suss things out, and I'll be able to take you to ATMs, no problem.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's not a problem at all. And so, as Mara said, though, and members that have traveled with us many times know how much we love the Wise Card. We all use it. In fact, we even use it for business now,
yeah,
for our commercial transactions. It's the best thing going, and when it comes to currency exchange. And the neat part about it is that because you can charge it up, in Canadian dollars, you kind of get a bit of a sense of your travel budget, right? So you throw $1,000 on the card, for example, and then you'll see how much you've spent, what your balance is in dollars or in any. You can convert it to another currency, or just on the fly, whenever you spend, it'll convert. And again, the main reason that I like it is that the exchange rates are about the best going.
yeah.
I've not found a card in Canada that comes close to Wise as far as that's concerned. So if you are interested in the Wise card, the details on how to get that are in again your trip specific reference guide that you'll have gotten prior to this. Mara, you mentioned already most of the gratuities for this trip, like with all of our trips, are covered. So you've prepaid them. It's part of the overall
Yeah,
trip price. And so
yeah,
Mara will be taken care of, right? Mara, you're going to
yeah.
pay off.
Yeah,
You're going to tip
I'll
the,
be, I'll be covering restaurants and, the people on the boat and there is one thing about the boat that because uh, because I mean it's a big boat, it's a yacht, but you have to be mindful of a night about noise because the rooms are not as big as a hotel room, of course, and you hear noise more than you would in a hotel room or something. Yeah,
yeah, great. Okay, excellent.
yeah,
We'll come back to that on the boat in just a minute. That's, I think, a great point
yeah.
that you raise. But just covering off of the gratuities. So
Oh,
I say
okay.
most of them are covered. The only thing that isn't covered is for example, when you get picked up at the airport by your driver that's going to meet you, and I'll explain about that in a second. That if you want to hand them a couple of bucks. Obviously, we're not there to make that tip. That's entirely up to you. And similarly, if you choose to tip your housekeeper, that's also a personal thing. It's not required. It's entirely up to you. And just generally, for when you're out and about, if you're enjoying meals that aren't part of the program, obviously we have a lot covered. Um, the locals in Turkey don't usually tip. So it's not a common practice for locals to tip. However, when they see foreigners, when they see foreign tourists, they'll
Yeah,
look at you and they'll kind of expect a tip because they know that in our part of the world we do tip. So that being said, if you're in a modest restaurant somewhere, you can tip pretty a relatively small amount. You can like round
yeah,
it up 5% or maybe 10% if it's really good service. But keeping in mind that it's not a requirement, nor is it a big expectation. If it's a nicer place, sure, you might want to tip 10%. But as always, more and more places are copying the model from countries in Europe where they add the service charge. So do look carefully at your bill because often in hotels and so on they'll add a service charge on, which means that the tip is being collected and distributed amongst the staff. So that's just a good thing to keep in mind. And again, Mara, you'll counsel people on what the tipping situation is,
sure.
at any
Yeah,
given time. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing. Good. Let's move on and talk about communications. Mara will tell you about Telegram in a second, but I just want to tell you, bring your phone. If you weren't thinking about it already, I mean, it's pretty much goes without saying nowadays we bring our phones everywhere, but it really, really is handy to have your phone largely also because we do have all of our communication via Telegram. And again, Mara will explain that in a second. So to bring your phone, you have a couple of different options in terms of getting online. You could simply, put your phone on airplane mode and just turn on your Wi-Fi and use the Wi-Fi, which works in the airport and the hotels and the restaurants. It won't work on, I don't think there's Wi-Fi on the boat, Mara, is there?
No, I don't
No,
think so. No.
no, you need but on the boat, so don't really need the Wi-Fi, but yeah, who knows, you might want to be in touch with someone at home or to again be able to communicate with your fellow members or whatever. So we do suggest being online, and there's three ways to do that. One is you can use your roaming plan from home. Bell, Rogers, TELUS, whoever you have roaming plans. They are pretty expensive. They're about 16, 17 bucks a day. Um, Alternatively, you can get a SIM card. So the sort of the most common way up till now has been a physical SIM. You can see a picture of it here, and you can pick one of those up when you arrive in Turkey. Or if you have a newer phone that's enabled for eSIM, you can get an eSIM. The eSIM is quite honestly, in the meantime, the easiest solution because you can go to one of the providers. There's hundreds of them. We don't endorse any particular one.
Mm.
A lot of our members use Airolo, Airolo. I happen to use Saley. There's Fonus. There's 100 providers. So you can do a little online research and figure out which one is good for you. You can subscribe to an eSIM and then get it all set up. And then when you arrive, as soon as you land in Turkey, you activate it, and then you're online from the moment you hit the ground. So that's an easy way of doing it. in terms of the getting a physical SIM, particularly if you have a phone that's older, you can get you can get SIM cards. There's all the providers, Vodafone, Turkcell, they're all in the airport just after you come out of the baggage collection area. But I will caution, particularly here, this is the case almost anywhere in the world, but that
Yeah.
the SIM cards at the airport are double the price, at least double the price that they are in the
Yeah.
city. They
Yeah.
tend to, so that's not my suggested option. If you get it when you get to the hotel, as Mara said, Mara, you're going to be greeting
I'll
everybody.
suss that out about where to
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
suss that out.
I'll
So
have that all sorted. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's my suggestion. If you want to get a physical SIM card, talk to Mara. She'll have it all figured out on what you need to do. So
Yeah.
that's oh, and when you want if you want to get a SIM card in Turkey, you must present your passport. That is a requirement there.
Yeah.
So that's one case where you will need to have your original passport with you to be able to get that SIM card. Good.
Yeah.
Mara, tell them about Telegram and how important it is
Yes,
for our
Telegram.
trips.
Yeah, look. We all have to be on Telegram. I've only had three connections so far. So if you could all Telegram me, you all should have my Telegram at Mara Ishbar, Maraishbar. And if you could all text me over the next couple of days, just so we're connected, because if you have any delays or anything, and if you can text me, or something happens at the airport or anything, or miss flight, I will need to know. So if you just always text me, Mara, I'm running late, or something like that. That's always and we've started a group chat. I know a couple of you have already joined the group chat and have already texted me personally. So for those who haven't done it, I would appreciate a text over the next couple of days, or today even. Today's
Exactly.
good.
Why not do it right after the webinar? So
Yeah,
the
even though
instructions,
I'll be going to bed, mind you,
yeah,
because
of course.
it's
Mara's in
midnight
Australia, if you can't tell by the accent already.
Yeah,
so, so she'll
yeah,
respond tomorrow. But
yeah,
if you, so the instructions to set up Telegram as an app on your phone are in, again, the information that we provided already. I know some of us, I count myself in that, are a bit technologically challenged. But you can Google how to set it up. You can go to YouTube to see instructions how to set it up. Um, and once you get it going, I'll tell you, you'll thank us for it because our members love it. We have members from groups 2, 3 years ago that are still chatting on
yeah,
Telegram.
yeah,
So the whole thing works much like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or iMessages or any of those things. But we like it because it is separate from all of those. And you can just delete it after you're done the trip. Although, again, most people tend to keep it and keep chatting with their friends they met along the way. So please do set it up, drop Mara a note, and she'll be reaching out to you to remind you of that if you haven't gotten in touch with her in the weeks before the trip, so that she knows where to reach you. Perfect. All right, enough about that. Let's talk for a minute about our health protocols. Just going to make 3 quick points there, which is first and foremost, if you've developed a cold or a cough or a sneeze or any kind of symptoms like that, first of all, let Mara know. Second of all, please wear a mask. I think, we've all been through the pandemic. I won't say any more about that.
yeah,
It's a harsh memory, but just for the benefit of your fellow members, if you could don a mask, and that way we don't circulate any unwanted bugs or anything like that. Secondly, if you should get injured in any way, even if it's minor, a cut, a scrape, a twisted this or that, please let Mara know. And again, we tend to err on the side of having our members see a clinic or a physician if something goes awry, because we want you to return home in at least as good a condition as you arrived in. So that's our goal for that. So please let Mara know if you are injured. And lastly, again, not that we have many smoker members, but if you are a smoker, please just refrain from smoking when you are with the other members of the group. That would be much appreciated. Good deal. All right. So fast forwarding a month from now, you're going to be flying over to Istanbul. A lot of you will probably be flying on Turkish Airlines, one of my favorites, by the way. from Toronto or perhaps from Vancouver to Istanbul. Um, Keep an eye on your phone, your emails before the flight. And again, it's something that airlines have gotten very good at advising if they anticipate a delay. And get ready for your flight. We use an app called Time Shifter. Again, it's mentioned in your documents, which alleviates or helps to alleviate jet lag, given that there is a bit of a time difference between Canada and Turkey. And then leading up to the flight, if once you get going and you're en route, as Mara said, if you're not going to be on the flight that you're scheduled to be on. So let's say you're not flying directly to Istanbul, but you're flying via, Frankfurt or London or some other place, and you miss the connecting flight. We won't know that you're not on the flight that you're scheduled to be on unless you
Mm,
drop Mara a note. So that's really important because we just want to make sure that we don't have a driver who's looking around the airport for you. Or more importantly, if you end up having a delay and being rescheduled onto another flight, we want to make sure we know when you're coming so we can send somebody to get you. So that's really important. Again, that's where Telegram plays a key role in your arrival. We just want to make sure that everything happens fine. You'll arrive in this big, beautiful airport. If you haven't been in Istanbul recently, they just opened this airport a few years ago. It is gigantic, but it's also magnificent. And if anybody happens to be flying in business class, the Turkish Airlines lounge in Istanbul Airport is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. So I think you could even buy a pass. So it's almost worth going to. It's like going. It's incredible. In any event. When you arrive, there'll be a lot of people in the in the arrival area after you pick up your bag. So do keep an eye out. Deep breaths is always good when you're looking for that transfer driver. He or she will be there and waiting for you, but they may not be easy to spot. If you have a problem when you get in, have no fear. Again, drop Mara a note. That's
mm,
assuming you're arriving on day one. If you're arriving earlier in the trip, then you'll have made your own transfer arrangements. But if you're arriving on the first day, then Mara will be online and will be able to assist you to make sure that you find your driver and make the trip downtown. And it's a good hour trip. The new airport's quite far outside of town, and you'll get your first glimpse of Turkey as you make your way in. And if you are arriving if there are more than one person, if there's more than a couple of people arriving on one flight that's within about a half an hour, we just group you together. It's also nice to meet some members along the way, but I think most are arriving on the same flights. Give you the quick overview of where you're going and what you're doing, and then as I say, I'll touch on a few of the points on the trip, but I'm not going to get into this in detail. But if you have
yeah.
questions, let me know. Obviously, trip starts in Istanbul. You spend your first days there. This is an incredible city, one of my favorites anywhere. There's so much to it. You're staying right in the heart of Sultanahmet, which is
Mm,
in where you'll find the Blue Mosque and Topkapi Palace and Hagia Sophia. All the key things are all in the Grand Bazaar, of course, all pretty much within walking distance of the hotel. And not to mention the Bosphorus, which is that canal, that strait, which connects the Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara and then out to the Mediterranean. So great location there. After that, you're going to travel overland. It's a bit of a longer journey, so there's a couple of somewhat longer days. You're going to stop in Bursa, which was once an ancient capital of Turkey, on your way down to Ayvalık and Kunda Island, where you're going to spend a few days. This is you're going to first chance to see the Mediterranean on this trip, and so really, this is a place that not a lot of North American travelers go, and that's exactly why we go there, because you'll see this beautiful port city. You'll get a chance to do some wine tasting up in the hills. And then you're going to head down and visit, of course, the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Ephesus, which is just outside of Izmir on your way down. And obviously, this map has changed because, as you all know, because of the logistics regarding the ship, you're actually starting the cruise in Göcek, which is down here, and then going the other way back to Bodrum. So the drive will take you from Ephesus over to Göcek. It's actually not, it's about maybe an hour extra, as we all advised previously. And then you're going to be visiting all these beautiful ports of call as you sail on this terrific gullet, the Minerva Queen, over the course of a week. And you will never have thought that the Mediterranean is as blue as it is. And of course, the trip that will then
Mm.
end in Bodrum with then the extension program, which most are going on in Cappadocia for the last few days. This is your Gulat. This is going to be your home for the week. Again, we've had some wonderful wheel and anchor experiences on this vessel. Mara, you were on here on a previous group, yeah? Or
Not
no?
on this boat.
No,
No,
not on
no,
this particular one,
no.
right? Exactly. You're going to have a marvelous time. Everybody comes back just raving about the experience. A lovely crew on board. As Mara mentioned, just a couple of things to be aware of for the cruise itself. So this is obviously privately chartered just for us. Um, the cabins all are quite comfortable. They are all air conditioned if that is needed. For the air conditioning to work in the cabin doors have to be kept closed. The captain will advise you on all of this stuff as you go. You need to wear slippers on board. You'll have some of your meals, your breakfast and your lunch and or dinner on board. Some meals you'll have the opportunity to go offshore at some of these villages, which is a wonderful thing to do. Opportunities for swimming, snorkeling off the ship. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have stocked the ship with a whole selection of beverages, which is included in the program as well. So you'll get to enjoy that. And if for some reason you run out, Mara's going to go and have to do a little shopping along the way.
Yeah.
That did happen on a previous one. One of our previous hosts, Alfie, had to go shopping because we ran out of booze.
Oh my God.
Gosh
Horror,
forbid.
horror.
Horror, horror. So yeah, as I say, just a few shots of Istanbul here and Kunda Island in Ayvalık. Keep in mind, of course, that this is you're in a Muslim country. If you haven't traveled in one before, you're going to hear
Mm.
the call to prayer 5 times a day from the minarets that you see pictured here. So don't be surprised or alarmed. You'll get used to it after a while. I think it's just charming. I love to hear it. And that's again part of the experience of being there. Let's see, what else did I want to say? You'll have a brief chance to visit Bodrum. It's a bit of a hectic city. I think I like the little towns along the way better than Bodrum. I find it's a bit of a tourist trap, for lack of a better word. But you'll have some time there, and again in all these lovely villages along the way. Um, and then Cappadocia at the end. Before I get to that, though, I just wanted to mention a couple of other things regarding the vessel. So there's towels provided on the boat. They're
Yeah.
usually changed once throughout the week that you're on board. I think it's a nice idea, though, to bring a quick dry towel. That was another thing that I would consider packing.
Mm.
Just one of those little camping towels. They're very handy if you take a dip or if you go off. Obviously, there's lots of stops along the way. You want to go for a beach a visit or something like that, a quick dry towel is, I always carry one. It's a useful thing to have. There's of course electrical power on the vessel as well, not tons of it. So hair dryers may not work all that well because they're obviously working off of like a battery with an inverter system. There is a generator, of course, on board as well, but there's not unlimited electricity. So
Mm.
do keep that in mind. Similarly, you can do laundry, obviously, in the hotels. There's a laundry service available as with any hotels. On board, it's a bit limited though, so you'll want to organize yourself so that you have attire that and aren't dependent on laundry for your stay on board the boat. Um, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. I'm going to jump forward back to Cappadocia. So for those going on the trip, and by the way, there's 17 of you going on the main trip, and almost everybody is continuing on to Cappadocia, this beautiful part of Turkey that's known for these cave
Mm.
dwellings that you can get a sense of
Mm.
here, and of course the balloon ride. which is a highlight of any visit to Cappadocia and something you'll definitely remember. So good. I think, Mara, we've covered pretty much all the information we
Yeah.
needed to. Has anybody got any questions? I haven't seen. If you do have questions, by the way, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, now is the time you can enter questions into the chat box or the Q&A box. Doesn't matter to us. And if you don't see the menu bar there, you just move your mouse around, and it's usually either at the top or the bottom of the screen. And
I haven't got my
yeah,
video on.
how do you? Yeah, you have to press the camera button there. Let's see. Ask to start video. Anyway, great. I saw one message coming in. Does the Goulet does not have hair dryers? So if you need a hair dryer, you would have to bring your own. So keep that in mind. So I would bring as compact and as low wattage a one as possible. Snorkel gear is available on the Goulet, so you can definitely go snorkeling. Keep in mind the Mediterranean isn't this is not a snorkeling mecca. The water is clear. It's a beautiful shade of blue. You're not going to see much, maybe a few fish, but there's no coral reefs in the Mediterranean. The water is too cool for that, but they do provide some snorkeling gear on board. Um, Valerie asked if we needed toque or gloves for Cappadocia. I personally no. I don't think it's going to be that cold. But if you are, somebody that's a little bit more susceptible to cool weather because you are up in the mountains a little bit higher, then you may want to consider bringing it. I personally wouldn't. But yeah, up in the balloon and as well, yeah, a light pair of gloves may not be a bad idea. I think that's a good question, Valerie. So keep that in mind. Mara's contact information is Telegram. And again, that information is Mara. Do you have your Telegram handle, your thing handy? Maybe you can type it into the chat box there.
Yep.
Yeah. If you type it in the chat box and send it to everyone, it is also listed in the information we sent. So you can just again send her a Telegram note, and that's the easiest way to get in touch with Mara. Closed toe water shoes. Okay, do we need closed toed water shoes? Yeah, rubber shoes are okay. It's really just to protect your feet because the beaches, as I mentioned, are pebble beaches, like stony. And so sometimes going into the water, I always bring a pair of water shoes because just to protect the feet. But whether they're open toe or closed toe doesn't really matter. It's not a requirement. Oh, Mara, we forgot about something important to mention about packing and clothing, which is you will have the opportunity, it's not a requirement, to go inside and visit a mosque.
Yeah.
I do recommend, particularly, the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. And so mosques do have strict rules. You have to have your shoulders covered. So you need to be dressed very modestly. So
Yeah.
knees for men and women and shoulders. So keep that in mind. Mara will let you know, the guide will let you know before you go that day. But make sure that you do have something that's appropriate, as with any religious building anywhere. But with the Islamic culture, that's quite important to be respectful.
Yeah, and
Juanita
I
asked,
always I always
yeah,
travel with a scarf.
yeah,
Some of the mosques like you to wear your head covered. Others aren't so particular, but so I always travel with a scarf anyway, just for that reason.
yeah. And
Yeah,
some of the mosques will hand you, like, you
yeah,
can borrow a scarf. Personally, I don't necessarily like to use a scarf that again, we're talking about for women,
yeah. It's mainly for
that
women.
somebody else has used 100 times. So a scarf is that's a good tip, Mara.
Yeah.
Juanita asked about oh, I'm gonna just copy your name here to everyone, Mara, because it was just sent to me. So I put
Oh, I didn't
Mara's, this is
realize it was sent.
Mara's, that's okay. I put
Yeah.
Mara's Telegram ID in the chat box, so everybody should be able to see it now. Juanita asked about bringing an iPad. Sure. If you would like to. A lot of our members do. Some even use it for taking pictures. The iPad camera, as I know, is not as good as a phone camera. But if you want to take notes, or if keep up on the news or whatever it happens to be, sure. I always take an iPad because I find it a very handy if I don't want to open my whole laptop. So certainly not necessary, but sure, why not bring it along? You could,
I
you
always
know,
travel with an iPad and my phone. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you could also bring a pair of binoculars, particularly if you like to watch birds. This isn't a birding trip. You will see birds, but so there's lots of things you could bring. But we tend to err on the side of packing light, so you don't have to lug the stuff because you do have to get your suitcase from the airport into the vehicle, and then into the hotel, and there'll be porterage in some places but not in others. So keep in mind, you are responsible for your suitcase, so whatever you decide you want to bring, you're going to be schlepping it. We need to ask about if you wear capris, and do you need long pants in mosques. Well, as long as you're covering your knees, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
I
Capris are fine. Capris are fine. Yeah.
Capris are fine, eh, Mara? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, listen. I always tend to go on. I always personally wear long pants, long sleeve shirt, or at least um, uh, not a t-shirt, but a collared shirt. When I go into the mosques, I tend to err on the side of being modest, because just out of respect.
Yeah.
Valerie asked if you have a few extra days in Istanbul, what are your top three favorite things to do that are not covered on our trip? Oh my goodness. Um, it's uh, top three favorite things to do. So we're going on a cruise on the Bosphorus. I would spend some time on the Asian side of Istanbul. That's something that you might like to do. You could go up to the observation tower. There's a couple of them, the rooftops. They have some incredible views. Definitely wander around Isval Street, the main street. Mara will point it out, which
Yeah.
runs from Taksim Square. It's a pedestrian street, a long street. Spend more time in the Grand Bazaar. Um, Listen, you won't get bored without
No.
just wandering around. Oh, and do a hammam. I,
A
again,
Haman. I love Haman. So
yeah,
so I
exactly.
always take the women to a Haman because
Yeah,
you have to go when you're in Turkey, and probably not just one, but a couple. Yeah. They're a
yeah,
treat. They're a
yeah.
treat.
It's a
Yeah.
treat. So Mara is obviously a hammam expert, so she'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And Mara, we have someone. A hammam. A
Um,
hammam is a Turkish bath. So and we have a couple of them. Mara, if you need, I can give you a couple of recommendations.
yeah. Yeah.
You go in to a steam room, and they've got like a heated marble tables. And
And
then
they
you
scrub you
lie
down.
down and they
Yeah.
scrub you
Yeah.
down, and
Yeah.
it's a unique, wonderful experience. And again, it's if you're not, we don't have this kind of thing in North America or in Europe, so it's a yeah. So yeah. So Philip, I'm not sure how to using the link in the chat. So to connect with Mara, you need to set up Telegram, the app Telegram. The instructions on how to set up Telegram are in the thing. And then when you go onto Telegram, you collect a new chat, and you collect you type in at Mara Ishbar. So that thing that I put in there. Um, so yeah, so you type this into here. The
Yeah, I've got
instructions are
a
written
few
out.
people.
Yep,
A few people have texted me as we're speaking, so
as
that's
we're speaking.
great.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I will.
So
I'll get back to you too. Yeah,
yeah,
after.
fantastic.
Yeah,
If you do have a problem, I mean, it just takes a bit of finagling. You can certainly drop a note to our office, and they'll help you get in touch with Mara. But I'm sure if you play around with it a bit, it will work out. Good. Well,
yeah.
thank you for all the questions. I love to get questions. Success. Ah, Philip had
Great,
success.
Philip. Great, great.
Okay, good. Good news. Good news.
And
Excellent. Good.
the trip will be fun. We'll have a lot of fun.
That's guaranteed.
And
You guarantee
and
fun, right, Mara?
yeah, look, I love having, yeah, it's I'll take care of everything. The guides will take care of everything. So that allows you just to relax and then enjoy. And we have a lot of fun. Good
Yeah.
conversation, and yeah, it'll be. I'm really excited, actually.
Mara, before you joined us, I was saying to them that if they're lucky, you might even offer a yoga class. Yeah, is that in
I
the
may
cards?
do that. Yeah, I've been teaching a lot of yoga lately, actually. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Okay, good. So
It's just finding the space to do the yoga.
that's the
But
tricky part.
yeah, yeah. But I'm not sure whether this boat is big enough. But anyway, we can do stretches, and so that's good. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
yeah.
Listen, thanks everybody for joining us. If you do have any other questions that we didn't touch on today, or something comes up 5 minutes after the webinar is over, then please do drop us a note. Melody here is our a sales support specialist, so she will. If she doesn't have the answer to the question, she'll find it out for you. So you can always drop her a note, or of course Paula or Aura. And yeah, we're delighted you're going to be joining us. I wish I could be coming along as well, but
Yes.
Mara beat me to the punch. So so
Yeah.
have a wonderful time in Turkey. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to hearing your feedback at the end, and hope to meet you all again very soon. So take care. Thanks, Mara. Thanks for
Okay, thanks, and I'll see. I'm looking forward to meeting you all, and yeah, I'll see you in Istanbul.
yeah, perfect. I saw one more question from Susan. How do I get a Wise card? Susan, the instructions to get a Wise card again are in the trip specific reference guide, or in the all, or in our general information. And it'll tell you, though, it's basically wise.com. And then you can just, it's very simple to sign up and get one, and you can get the digital card immediately. And then it's on your phone. That's the one that I use, just like your other credit cards. If you store them on your phone, or a physical card will be mailed to you in about a month. I just saw that question pop in. So good. I think we got all the questions done. So thanks again,
Okay.
everybody. And
Okay. See you
have a
soon.
great trip. All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Gordon.
everybody. All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.